Hi there friends, hello, how are you today? It's Sharon here from the blog I Restore Stuff, as you can see behind me. That's my the name of my website, irestorestuff.com, and you can find me over there. I'm just trying to straighten my camera here a second. Roll upside down and back to front. Okay, we are live again on Essential Stencils page, ready for another DIY project. And forgot to refresh my feed here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hi Bonnie, how are you? Good to see you here tonight, or I can't see you, but you can see me. Good to see your name. And there we go. I'll be able to see comments down here as we keep going. So let me know where you're watching from. Hi, Lynn, Terry, Sawyer is watching, Melissa's watching. We are doing some projects today with stencils, and I was going to do a transfer one, but it was taking me a while, so I think I'll just show you what I've started. I did a little demo of one. But a lot of you, maybe you know someone who's new to stenciling. Make sure you click that little sprinkle button, the little share button, and let other people know that we're live right now. And then that gives them a chance to come over and join us and join in the conversation. There are prizes to give away always. 3 lucky winners will get a $20 gift card from Essential Stencil at the end of our live. I'll be doing a door round today. Well, you don't have to hang them on your door, do you? You can hang them just about anywhere in your house. I'm just going to take the sticker off the back. I got this one from our local Kmart, but I know that you don't have many Kmarts over in the USA. If you just joined me, I'm from Australia, so some of the products that I might use here, you can find similar things over in the States, or Canada, or wherever you're watching from. Welcome. Let me know if you're watching from another country. That's always exciting. Essential Stencils at the moment currently still just ships to and within the USA, so you always use my code I Restore Stuff for any of your stencil brushes, paints, brushes, transfers and stencils, so you can use that code and get 10% off there. So a lot of you who are new, if you're brand new, I'm going to do a little bit of shadowing today because I haven't done that for a while on my stencils, and some people are still not quite game enough to do the shadowing thing. So I thought I'll just jump back on here again, do another shadowing technique video. So I'll do that, and maybe I might work on another project I've got sort of half ready. I bought these boxes. You can see I've taped the edges inside there ready to paint the background. It came in a set of 3, just little box drawers like this. So it came in a set of 3 like this. I thought I could use them as a sign. I could use them as something, a stand or something. In fact, let me show you the first thing that I wanted to show you live. However, it's kind of a bit tricky. I'm just trying to see where our comments are here. There we go. It took me a long time. So I want to show you, I found these 3 candle tapered, no, not tapered, they're candle pillars. Pillar candles, 3 different sizes, okay? That's the smaller ones. So there's a small, a medium, and the large. And I wanted to see if the transfers would work on those. Hi Renee, how are you? So has anyone, let me know in the comments, has anyone used transfers, rub-on transfers on wax candles? Because I'm thinking to myself, it's wax, it may not stick. I don't know about this. And so I had a go, and it did take me a while because it was a little bit resistant to sticking onto the wax candle. But here is my little example of how it did actually work eventually in the end. So let me know, what's your experience with putting the transfers on wax candles? I could have probably put some kind of parchment paper, around the surface of the candle first, and maybe just put the transfer on the parchment and then taped that around or something. But I actually did, yeah, I know Sandy, why not, right? So I thought these 3 different sizes would look cute with some of these on them. But because it took so long, I didn't want to make you wait and sit around and watch me just rub and rub and rub. I did use a little bit of I used the tool a little bit on that, rubbing the transfer on. But I did end up just using my fingernails and just going really carefully and really slowly and meticulously just removing a little bit at a time and rubbing on a little bit extra, but it took a bit of time, but I did get there in the end, and it does turn out nice. So with that being said, these 3 boxes, when I saw these in the shop, minus the blue tape, I've just added that in there now to prep for a little bit of what I might be doing later. I thought they're 3 different sizes, just like the candles. So if you do put them up this way, they could kind of look cute like this as well. I bought a few sets of these, so you could be using them for all sorts of different things. And I know you're probably going to say, where did you get the boxes from? And I didn't even have a look on my Amazon thing, but I've got an Amazon shop that does have a few different, you know, all sorts of different things that I stencil on, signs, wood rounds, wood things. So it may be in there. I'll have to check that later. But see how they kind of, with these boxes that I found as a set, I'll move this over. You could kind of pop the candles in just like so, and they could sit somewhere, and maybe you could stencil a little signs or words up the top because there's plenty of space up here in these ones. So that's just one idea that you could do with the candles if you found something similar. I just saw the 3 different sizes of the candles and 3 different size boxes, and I thought that would be a fun project. So I'm not going to do that as a demo today, but I just thought I'd give you an idea. I love to come on and just tell you what I found, tell you different ideas I found. But yeah, there's the transfer, and that's the Christmas, what's the Christmas ones? They're called Christmas lanterns and candles. And so they actually have some beautiful candles on those 2 sheets. And they do have some of those left. They've also got a restock on the Merry Snowmen transfers, which I've cut up all the snowmen and the snow globes and put them in my little plastic bag for easy reference and easy use. So I will put these 2 smaller boxes aside, and I will be using this one in a minute. I'll be doing a bit of a welcome sign with that. But first, let's have a little work on this one. And I'm going to be using this stencil here. I don't know if you've got this one or seen this one. It's called Call Her Blessed. It's got a beautiful verse from Proverbs 31:28, which says, her children arise and call her blessed, or blessed, however you'd like to say that. And so it's a beautiful wreath design and fits perfectly on a round. My round is, I believe these ones are 11 and a half. But a 12-inch round would be perfect. So I believe there are only a few of these left, so make sure if you don't have this one that you grab that sooner rather than later. And don't forget, use my link that's in the description of the live. It's also in the pinned comment at the top of the comments there. You'll see that if you're on a desktop computer, it'll be pinned right to the top. Maybe it's pinned also to the top of your comments on a mobile device. So pull that out here and show you how it will fit perfectly on my 11.5-inch round, but you can use a 12-inch and it will be great. Hello, Olive. Hello, darling. Are you still eating your treats? Your kibble. It's not really treats. Okay, so what I want to do first is, because it's all just plain pine, I'm going to let me just sit down for a second. I'll put the video camera down a little bit so we can see what we're working on here. And put my glasses on. Hi, Lois, watching from Vermont. Carol's here, Raquel's here. Robin, thank you for the stars. That's amazing. Okay, so we've got a few fusion colours. Fusion Mineral Paint is one of the paint brands that I stock and carry here in Australia for my furniture painting business. And so I sell these over here, but in the USA or in Canada, you can also use the link that I've given you there and use my code I Restore Stuff. You'll also get 10% off your Fusion Mineral Paint at the Fusion link that I've got in the description. All right, so with this color Tapestry, it's one of the new ones from their range. I'm just going to create a wash. It's a nice taupe kind of color. I feel like it's a little bit between, if you do know the Fusion colors, it's a little bit between Cathedral Taupe and Algonquin. And I know a lot of people have used Algonquin color as a wash, like a wood wash, to make the stain kind of look. I'm going to use it today as a wash, this color Tapestry. What I've done to create the wash is just added a little bit of water. You only need a little bit because I'm just doing a sign. In fact, I'll probably have lots left over, even this tiny bit. And then I'm just going to get a bit on my brush, a bit of the paint, And you can measure it out if you wanted to. I'm just going to mix that in with the paint, with the water there. But if you're doing a large tabletop, for example, and you're doing something like that, then you would want to probably, hang on, I've got to shift this to where you can see it. I've probably shifted it down too low. There we go. If you were going to do a larger piece, you could measure it out, and I would suggest a ratio of around about 1 part paint to 10 parts water, or 1 to 9. A tenth of water, paint and the rest water. So you really only need a small bit of paint to do the wash. So now that we've got that mixed in, and I'm just going to swish my brush off a little bit. Ignore the rusty colour. Oh, it is very light, this one. Often these whitewashes will tend to lighten dark wood grains. So if you've got a darker wood grain for, say, an older piece of pine, or some of that wood that's like oak that might have some yellowy, orangey, golden tones in it, then it is a good wash to tone down those yellow. Oh, it's the time for the mailman to come, so she's going to go nuts about that. There's Olive, she's back. Hi Connie from North Carolina. That's where my sister-in-law lives. My husband's from the States, and so his sister and her husband live in North Carolina. So you can see the difference there. It's kind of just creating a nice, should we say, a warm tone, a nice wash that you'll still be able to see the grain through. Olive, all finished. Go on. So it just changes it up a little bit. But if you do have a sort of a dark, see this little patchy, when they create these pieces of wood, they often will patch pieces of pine together. Oh my goodness, she's loud this morning. Can't hear myself think. Oh, okay. When she comes back in, I'll try and catch her. All right, so that has created our wash. I'm just going to put this in the bucket of water, and I will dry that off with the hairdryer. It's not a lot of difference, but you can do that same wash method with any water-based paint. So it doesn't have to be the Fusion mineral paint. It can be any water-based acrylic or paint. You can create that lovely wash look. Super quick to dry. Here's Brenda. I have a lot of water in that. That kind of, the board must have soaked up a lot of the water, and so that it is still a bit damp. So I might leave that a minute and we'll go on with our next project. So with this one, I'm going to be working on some different colors and ideas and using shadowing technique to create this stencil here, which you can find in the link right there in the description of the live. And then I'm going to be using this box, which I've pre-taped earlier around the sides of the box, because I want to make these a wood grain stain. I may even do some kind of a wash, maybe a darker wash, I think. But you can see sort of the difference between that raw pine and then a little bit of a lighter brown tan kind of wood wash. That's the color Tapestry. Hi Sue, can you still hear? What size is the round? It's 11.5 inches. Okay, so this is a box that I found in a 3-piece box set. And I'll be painting the inside, I think, white. Now I'm just using the color Casement, which is a nice bright white in the Fusion range. And I'm using my Klingon brush. I like the flat ones. You can use any brush. The Klingon ones have nice tapered bristles, which really make it nice and smooth for furniture painting and such. So when I'm using, and I've got painter's tape there, I don't want to put my big blob of paint right near the top. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit here, and then as I run the paint down, then I'm going to push my brush bristles up into the top and just kind of wriggle it around a little bit, because I don't want that paint seeping in up on that top edge there. So there's a little bit of a paint tip for you. So run it down and then sort of wriggle it up in the top edges. We may need a couple of coats of this, we'll see, but it could be okay with just one if we want to just sort of have more of a wood grain whitewash look. Let me see. Let me know in the comments. Oh, thank you so much for sprinkling. I should have done the same. I usually sprinkle it out to my page if I have time. My page is I Restore Stuff. That's where you'll find me and my furniture painting bits and pieces and tutorials. It's quite a light wood, this, so the white is really just creating sort of a whiter look on it. I thought we'd make a bit of a welcome sign. Missed a bit down here, didn't I? Now hopefully that blue tape will just come off nice and smoothly. And that way it doesn't get all on the edges. Thank you so much, guys. All right, I think that'll be fine with just one coat. I will let that dry and kind of have a look at, take a second look at it. But let me see, I'm just going to put my brush in a plastic bag in case I want to go back and do a second coat. But we'll dry that off for a second and then I'll... Alright, so that's our start of our stenciling. Now what I wanted to use was here it is, our welcome stencil. Sorry, I'm just catching the comments here as well. Here's our welcome stencil, and it's called Winter Welcome Door Hanger, and it's got these gorgeous patterns in it. So not just the first one, you should wait till you see the other ones. I did do something along these. I used one of these patterns for a stencil a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago maybe. And here is the, there's a buffalo check and then some cute snowflakes. So these and the, what do you call that, Christmas sweater designs are great patterns to use for all sorts of signs. You could use them on wood rounds, you know, for top and bottom, which they've got for the example on this welcome pack here. They've got using the patterns top and bottom of the welcome sign. But this welcome is just going to be just the perfect size, although the stencil itself doesn't fit in, the words will. And so I think I'm going to do that. Let me see. Yeah, that's looking great. So the stencil itself is not going to fit in my thing. So for the very first time, I'm going to cut my stencil. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't usually do this. I'm usually a stickler for leaving my stencils alone and not cutting anything. But since it's a stencil by itself anyway, I don't like to cut up the smaller ones, but I will just cut this one. So I'm just trying to cut a exact amount off the edge so that it fits into my box, and then I can stencil it a lot easier. Has anyone else cut their stencils before, just to try and get them to fit in? Yeah, Brenda says, you were about to ask, do I cut my stencils? I should have drawn a line. I feel like I should have drawn a nice straight line so I could get it exact. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but hey, didn't bring my ruler. Let's see if that's enough to where it will fit in. Not quite. Oh, that could be enough. In fact, it's going to keep it just one little bit off this. Isn't it funny how you think you're cutting straight and there's just a little, nope, I can't get it. This is a nice quality thick mylar plastic. There we go. Okay, so I could tape either end to keep it still, but I'm pretty sure that will work. So we've got our nice welcome sign here. I'm just going to use a nice straight black. So we've got coal black, which is Fusion's blackest black. And I did forget to bring, what did I forget? A offloading cardstock. So we'll just use backs of envelopes that you get your stencils in to do my offloading. And it can be a little bit tricky to get inside a deep area like this, but the stencil brushes are quite, you've got a nice ergonomic handle, you've got the natural bristles. It is a nice little, you know, you can go around fairly easily. I'm going to get a larger, slightly larger size, 5/8 inch brush for the welcome sign. Paint this black, and then we'll go on with our round in a minute. Raquel said, I never thought about cutting them. This could have saved me some misery. Yeah, I don't usually cut them. I think that's probably the very first time I've ever cut a stencil, but I only cut this much off it. I also wanted to make sure that you want to make sure you don't cut too close to the letter edges, because those letter edges can, you can go off the edge with your brush and cause a mess on the side of your stencil, which you don't want. Okay, so if you're new to stenciling, let us know. No, Maureen, I stock the Fusion paint and I have an affiliate link for them. That is right there in the description of the live at Fusion Mineral Paint, their website. You can use my code I restore stuff there and get 10% off. And Essential Stencils link is there for your stencils and transfers. All right, so I've offloaded a lot of paint off my brush and I'm going around and around like so. I did see Renee pop on before, and I think, Renee, are you going to be demonstrating something this week? Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. There's something in the works, guys. She may have gone. I tried to find some last night for something and couldn't find any, Brenda. I don't know what you're referring to. You guys sometimes have conversations among yourselves and then I pop in and I have no context. So that's funny because I'm over here crafting. Is anyone else crafting tonight, doing some creating? Well, let us know in the comments what you're working on. So we've got our blue tape on the sides, which is still helpful at this stage because I've got black paint on my brush and I wouldn't want it to accidentally get too close to the sides and brush off on there. Sandy says, what color are you using? The black I'm using is Coal Black by Fusion Mineral Paint. The white I used in the background was Casement, which is their brightest white. They also have Picket Fence, another bright white, but that is going to be a limited release, so you may find that still in stock. Someone's doing the Snowman transfers tonight. That's amazing. And Brenda, you're stained a board waiting for it to dry. Does anyone else use a hairdryer to just hurry up their process and make things go a little bit quicker? Like I do on our lives. Olive, settle. Olive. Now I'm going to go over this just a little bit with this second coat here, give it a little bit more of a sharper look. It gives it a bit more coverage. Just being careful sometimes that if you do your second coat too early, it can pull away the first coat. So if ever that happens to you where you go on with your second coat and your first coat's starting to pull away, that's probably why, is because sometimes the surface, the first layer is not quite dry enough. Okay, Olive, come. Got our black. Come here. Quiet. Good, quiet. Thank you. She sat as soon as I said that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. Someone, Raquel's using a heat tool. Okay, that's a great idea too. Very nice. Hello, sweetheart. Did you come to say hello? Did you see a little head popping up there? Kathy, you tried to do an incognito snowman and you don't recognise it? Oh my goodness. Jamie uses a heat gun. Renee says, yes, I'll be live tomorrow night. Looking forward to seeing you all. I'm prepping as I'm watching you. Renee has something special for us. I can't wait. So don't forget, don't miss her live tomorrow night. It's going to be so exciting. Okay, so there's my welcome sign. And now I can take off my blue tape. Olive's quiet. I don't know where the beginning is here. I started, maybe it's there. I'll just have to kind of scrape from the edge. Oh, I found it. Olive's chasing flies. Does anyone else's dog do that? She chases flies and she catches them. She actually catches them sometimes. I don't know that, I don't think she eats them. Yeah, I love the black letters on the white background too, Jan. And that tape is coming off just nicely around the edges. So then if I wanted to create the wood, create a stain on the wood, I could do that. But a little fleck down there. But isn't that nice? Now I'll hold it back here a little bit so you can see. Look at the depth of that. It's pretty much a tray, but I thought you could just sit that as a shelf sitter on your bench top, and it would be a beautiful welcome thing. And it would even fit, you know, some little things on the bottom that you could even put some greenery on for Christmas. You could season it up a little bit, change your seasonal decor. So what I thought was you could also do, which I probably won't do this live because I've got another little piece to work on, but you could use these patterns that come with the welcome set as the border on the outside. So that would be cute, depending if you wanted a plain wood look or just add the borders all around it. So you've got the check, you've got the snowflakes that would look cute all the way around. You could paint it a color or leave it stain it a wood color, or then you've got this Christmas sweater design as well that could look cute all the way around as well. So what would you do? Let me know in the comments. What would you do for yours? How would you decorate this outside part? I will pop this down here. We'll bring our board back here. If you can catch her and put her in the cage, Amber, that'll be fine with me.
Crate?
In the crate. Put her in the cage. It does sound a bit mean, but it is her little safe place. She does like to go in there for a sleep. Brenda says she loves it like it is. The Christmas deer would look great. Yes, you could use just one line of that that other stencil, Christmas sweater one. Okay. So we've got our board. We've stained that with the colour Tapestry. So there's that one from Fusion. This is in their new colour range. Then I've got a few different colours to go down here. Now what I did want to do was show you some shadowing. I've got the Acadia pear, which I'll probably use for the greenery. Then I've got this nice cute rusty chestnut mare colour, but now that I'm looking at it, it could look similar to the board. But if I add this white pop of shadowing behind the words, I think it'll be just fine. So let's get our Fusion casement again. We'll get a brush. I probably won't do shadowing on the leaves. So if you did need to, oh, we've got all this tape here we used for that box. I can tear some of that off. And I'll just use a bit to cover up the leaves. And then we'll I'll just do these words first up. I go around the circle a little bit. Here's some more. One line of the Christmas in red and paint the outside red. Yes, you're talking about for the welcome box. That would be cute as well. Sandy's suggesting Hobby Lobby has cute miniature things in the small tree decorating area, which would look cute for the inside of your welcome sign. And I'm sure they would have little miniature things for every season. So that's just such a great idea for the welcome, a little welcome shadow box kind of thing for the front entryway or somewhere like that, where you could, yeah, add your seasonal decor, change it up. All right, so making sure I'm straight here, although when we do shadowing, we sometimes will shift it slightly right and slightly up. So if I leave it sort of slightly left and slightly down to start with, the shadowing will work just nicely. I'm going to hold that still because I don't have tape to go around the outside, but if you were tricky, you could probably do this and come under here. The tiny Christmas trees would look cute, Gail. Yeah. Sandy said you saw a lot of green jadeite in the Christmas decor section. That would be cute. All right, so we've got our white. I'm going to get my offloading cardboard again and just work that into the bristles. Oop, don't flick it on yourself. I feel like there's a lot of paint on this brush, but we'll see. Okay, and I might start with the larger letters since I feel like I had a lot on the brush, but no, it's working just fine. Once I've got the majority of those off, and where that tape is, it's kind of lifted the stencil a little bit, so I have to be careful not to get that underneath. All right, now we can just swirl a little bit easier, making sure that's all filled in. And you may have to go over with a second coat with some of the whites, but remember that it's better to do 2 thin coats rather than 1 coat that you've got too much paint on the brush, where it will bleed under the edges of your stencil. We don't want that bleeding, causing all the fuzzy edges, and not, you know, we want a nice crisp edge to the stencils. So right now I'm doing white on here and thinking we'll create a bit of a shadow for our sign. This is the word blessed. It's a beautiful verse in Proverbs 31, verse 28. This could even make a great teacher gift, or a great sign for the nursery, but especially for the mums in your life. What a great Christmas gift idea. Brenda, you had bleeding on your candy cane stencil. Those candy canes were tough. Were they? The round, that's a candy cane stencil round. I was going to do that one recently, but I haven't actually done that one yet, so. It looks like it's got lots of design in there. Oh, I feel like I've got too much on the brush. We'll see. Her children arise and call her blessed. I can just see a little, because I'm closer up here, you can see the wood, because I did a wash in the background, the wood's really soaking up the paint because it hasn't properly sealed the grain. If I had done a solid coat of paint, it would have completely sealed the grain and you wouldn't have gotten that really soaking in. So the white's kind of soaking in there. But this is just the shadow of the actual stencil that we're going to be doing. So that's okay. We don't have to get it all filled in. So I'm just going to do the one coat on that. Marcella, you love this. Hope someday you can get the hang of it. You mean stenciling or the shadowing part? Because the stenciling too, I would practice on a piece of cardboard or a piece of scrap wood somewhere. And that's very helpful. Okay, so we've got our white down. And then we want to go over with the rest of the colours. So I'm going to be doing the leaves. We may need some tape again soon. Hi Laurie, so glad you could be here live. Thank you. White background with all red. I'm guessing you're talking about the candy cane. Someone just said you haven't tried, that was Sandy, haven't tried shadowing, but I'd love to try. Yeah, do it and practice on, you know, your pieces of cardboard or all the other things that that I've suggested. Now I'm going to move this to where we're going to place the shadow. So you can see the white right here, and I'll just lift that straight up. Stuck my tape down now, so it's in the right place. There it is there, and it's pretty well covered, but you can see some little areas where it's just a little bit shadowy or shady. And I tried to move it slightly that way, but we're going to move the stencil up and across, just ever so slightly. So that's how you do a shadow, just up and across. Doesn't matter which way across. You could even go down and have the shadow showing at the top. But if you want your shadow on the bottom side of something, which if you're talking about the sun shining and creating a shadow, it's usually on the base of something. So if you want your shadow, which is the white, to be on the bottom, then we need to move our stencil up slightly and slightly across. Okay, so what I do is I just place it down. I might have to shift these so that they're out of my way. Doggy!
What is it? What is it?
So we're going slightly up, slightly across, and I'll show you what this looks like here. So it looks like it's slightly off, okay? So I've just gone slightly up, slightly across, just by millimeters, hardly anything at all. And then I'll put this somewhere, maybe on closer to the outside. Just give it a little bit more of a stable surface. And I want to do those, maybe I'll do those leaves first and then I'll go on with the letters. So the leaves, I'm just going to make sure I don't get these letters here. So we sort of do the opposite taping, and then probably won't get them there. Yes, Maureen's asking, are these stencils thick? They are quite thick. I don't know what the thickness is, but yeah, very, very quite, they're flexible, but they're quite thick. Which is why, you know, it wouldn't bend very much when I tried to put it into my little box to do the welcome sign, so I had to trim the edges of that. Okay, so I was going to do this Acacia pear, and it's a lovely green colour for the leaves, and also, you know, they kind of go right down to the bottom. So because this is a line drawing, it's not filled in, it's just one of those line ones. You can fill it in, you can use our detail brushes. I'm going to try and reach across all my paints. We've got our Essential Stencil detail brushes, which come in a set of 5 or 6. I think there's 6, maybe 5. I'm trying to see because I've only got 5 here in the tin. You can fill in your leaves and things like that with those as well. All right, so just need another brush. I'll probably use a smaller one. This is the 1/2 inch brush. This is Acacia pear, going down on my Little offloading cardboard here. Working it into the bristles. Sue says, I will have to try shadowing. Yes, you should. Okay, so I've offloaded as much as I can on the brush. You can see it's quite, we call this a dry brush method. And then I can swirl it in onto the wood there. Just get a little bit more on. Maybe I should have done a bit of white on this. We'll see. On the leaves. I'm just looking at the colour of the wood and the tone of the wood and the leaves to see if they're almost a bit too light. Going along the lines there. A little bit more over here. Start at the top of our leaves again. Oops. Too much on my brush. I'm just pouncing for a second. Had a little panic. We don't want that bleeding underneath the edges. We want nice crisp edges. Arcadia Pear is the name of this colour. Yeah, any of the fusion paints, you can use my code I Restore Stuff and go to the link that I've put for fusion in the description of the live in there, and you'll find those. The shadowing, and I was going to use, because I like these colours all together, I think it's a nice pairing. See the colours and those tones, the green and then the rusty chestnut mare it's called. Put my brush in a little wet cloth for a second and grab a new brush. Maybe this one would be good. The green is so nice on the eyes, says Sandy. Yes, Gail, you can get samples of the Fusion Mineral Paint. They come in a tester size. They come at a minimal cost, but it's 37 mils in each little tester size. And it's enough to paint a large board, or actually it's enough for your stenciling too, and they fit the little stencil brushes in the little pots perfectly. So yeah, a lot of people, if they're just doing their signs for stenciling, or just using the paint for stenciling, they might get several of those little sample brushes. But if you're doing lots of boards, you could probably get the larger pots, or just see the colours and see if you like them, and then get the pots a bit later. Okay, so this is the colour Chestnut Mare. Just opening that up here, like that, similar to our leather couch that we have. So get a bit of that on my brush. Running out of cardboard. Grab another one. I'm just going to swirl that around, and now we can go ahead and do our shadowing, making sure I've got this right. I think it'll be fine. You see a bit of a shadow underneath it. So hopefully this isn't too, hopefully it's enough of a contrast. Michelle's asking, is the Fusion similar to, I missed that comment and now I can't scroll back, similar to other chalk paints, or is it thicker? It's not thicker. Chalk paint is quite a thick paint. I find Fusion, they're very different paints. Chalk paint is a porous finish and needs a wax or a sealer to seal it. Fusion sort of has a built-in top coat. It's like a, but it's still quite good quality, as in thick. It's not runny like milk paint or something, for example, which is another type of furniture paint that probably many of you aren't as familiar with as chalk paint. Yeah, it's got a really nice, smooth, creamy texture, and it goes on really nicely to furniture. So you just less brush strokes because it has sort of a bit more self-leveling. So we just go along, and each time I'm just offloading the paint onto the brush, onto the cardboard, and go over and swirl it around over the top of our white. Now, I probably could have washed off that where the shadowing is, but it did dry pretty well, so. Oh, someone's asking about the deadline for the hat stencils, Melissa. Melissa's collaboration. Have you all seen that? I hope you joined Melissa live yesterday for a hat stencil collaboration. What a great idea. And I'm not sure about the deadline, but it'll be on the website. If you just go to essentialstencil.com, right there at the top, it has the whole collaboration there, so you can check it out and it'll have the dates and the info on there. I'm pretty sure. All right. It was a bit close to that green, but I managed to stay away from the green. Marcella says, can you use paint markers? Are you talking about for the stencils? Yes, you could. I haven't tried paint markers, but you would still have to be careful around those edges. I'm not sure how they would go on the edges for the bleeding factor, or how, you know, I'm not quite sure if they have like a paint. They have more like a marker tip, don't they, rather than a felt tip? You just have to be careful not to let it seep under the edges in the same way that you try not to let too much paint get on your brush to seep under the edges. That's the main factor with stenciling, I think. It's just having that right amount on your brush. This is a beautiful terracotta kind of color, I think. And we'll do this one down here. Cassie says you always have bleeding when you use markers, so yeah, maybe it's not maybe it's not better than the stencil brushes themselves. So yeah, just experiment, try that out, but good to hear from some other people who have used it. Kippy loves the color combination. It is nice, isn't it? I think I might just go over it with another coat. I feel like I can see, well, it's not too bad, but I feel like I can sort of see the white through there still. So if I just go over with one more coat, it sort of covers up that white layer that's showing through underneath. And then we'll be almost finished. Yeah, I love these new colours. In the colour palette, there's a couple in this that are slightly different shades or tones, I guess you would call it. There's the Acacia Pear, the Tapestry, and then they've got a couple of purples which people are loving also. Purple's not one of my favourites, but a lot of people love the purple at the moment. So it's like a deep velvet plum colour. I think it's actually called velvet plum. Alright guys, we're nearly at the end, but don't go anywhere because we will be giving away prizes for 3 lucky winners, some gift cards, so make sure you've been joining in the conversation here in the comments, and Essential Stencil will be picking some winners in a minute when we've finished. So we've just got this little bit to go. So the green is Acacia Pear, the orange is Chestnut Mare, and then I used the colour Tapestry for the wash, like a wood wash, on the base of it. And for my other sign, I've used coal black, and casement is the white background. And don't forget our fun little candle idea. If you missed that at the beginning of the live, I showed you transfers on a wax candle. Didn't show you exactly how to put it on there, but it's the same principle as all the other transfers that we've used. You just rub it on. But I did end up, and I did tell you at the beginning, if you missed that, you can go catch the replay, that it took quite some time to get it to stick to the wax on the candle, but it did actually stick, so it was perseverance, but we got there in the end. Okay, let's have a look at this shadowing technique, see how that turned out, and you'll be able to see how it creates an effective pop so that that rust colour, the chestnut mare colour, actually stands out against the wood. So, and then we could have done the white shadowing on the green here also, but I like the way that that's turned out. And then of course we could use any of Fusion sealers to go over the top of that to just create a nice sheen. You might like, I mean, if it's hanging on your wall, it probably doesn't matter, it doesn't need to be sealed, but sometimes I'll use a sealer like the Top Coat sealer in a gloss if you want more of a sheen on it. Or the new Ultra Guard that Fusion's come out with, you can also get that using my link there. If you haven't tried that yet, the Ultra Guard comes in a satin and a matte, so that will be lovely too. So let's have a look. That was the Call Her Blessed stencil, and also the Christmas Welcome stencil. Let me just jump up here and see if we can see our winners. Have we announced the winners yet? Let me see. Oh, it's quite steamy and humid here in Australia today, or in Queensland, where I'm from. Olive, we're about to pick the winners. Don't forget to use my code IRestoreStuff or any of the links in the description of the live. And we have looked at today making a welcome sign with a bit of a shadow box you could use. We've had so many fun suggestions. If you missed those comments, go back and check out the comments during this part where we talked about you could make this seasonal and put little miniatures across here as a bit of a shelf, because look how wide that is. It'll sit a lot of things on that shelf down here. So welcome sign, season it up and create a lovely seasonal things on there. And also we created this fun sign, which would make a great mother's gift. Mother's Day, it's not Mother's Day, but a Christmas gift for mum, or for maybe a teacher, or, you know, someone who has children who would rise up and call her blessed. There you go. So there's that shadow technique. We'll give you a real close look of that. And so now you've seen how it's done, I want to know if you're going to go try that. So let me know, and you can message me anytime over at irestorestuff.com or iRestoreStuff on any of the social media platforms at iRestoreStuff. YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Thank you so much, Maureen. Our winners today are Sharon, great name, Sharon Marshall, Marcella Askins, and Maureen O'Malley Lindgren. So Sharon, Marcella, and Maureen, you're our winners today. You've won $20 gift vouchers from Essential Stencil. I hope you find something fun to craft with at essentialstencil.com. Thank you so much. I'm Sharon Hankins from iRestoreStuff. I'll see you again next week. Bye.